Hello and welcome back to the Owner Meeting Podcast. I'm Christian, your channel host. Today, joined with Brent Bowers at Land Shark. I'm so excited for this episode. Many people don't know this, but I actually started my real estate career at lands.com. Land was my intro into real estate. Co-star bottom, worked for LoopNetApartments.com, found my way into the multifamily space. But land was the original entry point for me into real estate. So having Brent on is a special treat. He has multiple ways to make money on land. So I'm really excited to talk about what your business strategy is, how you've made this work. I know you put mobiles on some of these, but I'll let you tell your part of this episode. And welcome to the channel.
Dude, that's awesome. I did not know that. That's cool.
Yep.
I used to use lands.com. So
there we go.
Yeah, we might have ran into each other.
I don't know if you've ever used Land Watch, but the original Land Watch was bought by CoStar and rolled into the lands.com network. I worked there for 2 years and I killed it. It was an awesome job. They gave us a sweet office in Seattle. And then the CEO of CoStar visited the office and went like, why the heck do we have inside sales reps in Seattle? We only do this out of DC. Fired everyone on the team. Then they kept me for LoopNet. They're like, hey, we got another job for you. We like you, but everyone's instantly fired. I was like, oh, well, that was a bummer. That was a sweet gig for a long time.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm a fan of LoopNet. I list our office spaces and buildings on there. And then Land Watch, Land and Farm, Land.com. I was a subscriber to a lot of those for years. So our paths may have crossed at one time.
That's very possible. Now, where in the U.S. do you currently buy?
Yeah, where do I buy? Gosh, man, I really like Tennessee and Georgia and Florida right now. Oh yeah, yes, Carolinas as well. But I don't want anybody to get overwhelmed by hearing that. I started in my own backyard when I was stationed in El Paso County, Colorado. When I was stationed at Fort Carson, Colorado, and Colorado Springs. So I always recommend start in one spot, pick that spot, and just go deep with it. And it's hard right now in this area I'm in Florida, about everywhere within about hour driving range is like the land's just unaffordable. So I go outside of it. There's way more opportunity, but yeah, it's crazy. That's cool, man. Most people I talk to have no clue about land or do anything with land. So that's cool. You're with lands.
Yeah, no,
we called them the lands websites. LANDS,
yep, the Lands
all
websites. I think it was Lands of America, Land and Farm, Land Watch.
It's confusing.
It was super confusing. CoStar usually does a pretty good job of rolling everything in, but they had the hardest time separating each site. So they had that was the hardest piece of my job, was explaining all the different packages. I'm like, well, you can be on these sites, you can be on these sites. Or you can
I still don't understand it.
But you know what? I don't know that I ever understood it. And I was there for 2 years. And then they change it every 3 months.
Land Watch is really how I got my start. I don't talk about that. I don't know if I've ever told anybody that, but that's where I would figure out what I thought maybe the land was worth. Now I use Redfin and Zillow, but Land Watch was one of I got to thank them or thank you for that.
Yeah, no, it used to be a little company based out of Bellevue, Washington. Is where they used to be headquartered. They're near where my parents' house was. I graduated college and wanted to get a real estate job. Zillow didn't want to hire me with no experience whatsoever, so for lands, and that's how we got rolling. So you said one thing that I love. You started in your backyard, and you mentioned a bunch of really sexy real estate markets that you're investing in right now, but you started in your backyard. And I don't know that Colorado is the best real estate market of all time, but there's a huge advantage to starting where you're at, and you have so much ability. And I think real estate and business, it's about competitive advantage. And one of those advantages, if you're starting, is you can go out and touch the property and actually see what you're doing. What were the advantages that you found starting in your backyard versus trying to start all over the place at the same time?
Well, what you just mentioned there was just being able to see what I was doing, because we would advertise on, or I would, when I started, this was just me. We would advertise on land.com, Land Watch, Lands of America, Land Farm, Craigslist, Facebook, put signs out. And if I walked the land, man, I could tell people like, look, there's a stream about 50 yards from this land. You don't actually own it, but it's part of the common space or this or that. It's national forest. And I feel like I had a super advantage of selling this land back then. Now I don't go and look at any of it. I put boots on ground. There was a certain when you can touch the dirt, you feel the dirt, touch the aspen trees, or, whatever, do a little improvement, put a driveway in, or a circle driveways for some reason. We're always kick butt. You put a board fence and a circle driveway, like it was like gangbusters on this land. So everybody was like, how much do you improve the land? Well, usually I don't touch it most of the time. But here's the thing. You do 390 plus land transactions, they get boring. But we do a little, like, it's almost like a blank canvas on every one of them. I don't like cutting trees down. It's like,
Yep.
Only time I'll cut trees down is if I'm putting a brand new mobile home on the land. But yeah, I'll put fences up. I'll put driveways in. Very limited. I mean, like less than 20 times on 300 plus land deals. But I think land is the easiest way for people to get started in real estate, and most people just pass right by it.
Well, and it's an interesting one, right? So I'm going to go from the standpoint of a traditional investor, and I know a lot of different land plays, but for the average investor, I'm thinking, okay, I want to try to build cash flow. I want to get this base. How much does land make when I buy it day one? Yeah, no cash flow. It's a piece of land. It's dirt. It's going to need development. It's going to need repositioning. It's going to need to be flipped, old built. When you're getting into the land game, especially as an entry level, how do you get to the liquidity? How do you get the model rolling when you're starting in land?
Yeah, well, how I started, and I agree with you. Like I came from Okeechobee, Florida. That's a bunch of cows out there. To be a landowner, you own a ranch, you have a cattle operation, or you work on the ranch and you don't own anything. You have a dairy operation, or you're just rich, or all three. So I was like, how the heck do people make money with land? Like, how do you get cash flow from it? Because that's the name of the game. You want someone else to pay for your real estate. So with land, here's how I made money with it. I would buy it for super cheap and just sell it for a little bit more quick. I usually wouldn't buy it unless I had my buyer lined up. And then I worked my way into getting the land under contract and then selling to someone with a lot more cash that wanted the deal. So we call that wholesaling land. And then I got even more advanced strategy. I would get the seller to let me make payments, and then I would find a buyer that would make payments to me, and I would be the middleman. And then I got to where it's like I had people start lending me money anywhere from like 8 to 9, 12% interest. And I would buy this land for 60, and then I turn around and sell it for 97 at 11% interest. So I'm paying my lender 9% on 60, and I'm getting 11% on 97. So it was positive arbitrage. It was almost like getting having that $400 or $500 a month extra. Plus, I get a down payment as well from my buyer. So I get paid in the front, I'd get paid through the middle, and I'd get paid at the end when I would pay the seller off. My payments would get much larger. I got one that's I'm about to pay my lender off here in about a year. Like my payment, I'm going to keep about $900 more a month. I'll make $105,000 on that deal, and I have zero of my own money in to it. The buyer has never missed a payment. They've been on time. But basically, when I got more advanced is when I started having other people lend money to me. And then I stopped being limited to what was in my bank account. And it's almost like having rentals that I get monthly payments on every single month. So I get a big fat check up front and then get monthly payments. And I never have to fix a toilet, never have a roof repair, no toilets, none of that stuff, because land does not break. It's pretty fixed expense.
How often do you find yourself using creative finance in land? Because I know a lot of people are in a position where the debt stack is usually a lot lower on land. So your creative options tend to be more abundant.
Yeah, I've never used a bank to buy land ever. So I say it's all creative. Creative. Either I'll wholesale it, which I think is creative by selling it to a cash buyer. And there's so many ways to find these cash buyers. Or the seller will seller finance me, and then I'll do an arbitrage. The best deals I get though is when I pay cash for the land, because sometimes people think cash up front is a better deal for them, so they will give less. Which and really at the end of the day, if these sellers wanted to make more, they'd be the bank. That's what I'm doing. So that's fine. I'll do it. But I think they're all creative. Every single one of them are creative. But it just becomes another way to sell it to me. And then we track it by an Excel spreadsheet. My bookkeeper plugs in what we received that month, and the lender gets paid. Some of them I bought with partners where they paid for the deal, and I pay them out profits. I don't do that anymore. That's a pain in the butt to track.
Yes, it is.
That created a nightmare for accountants.
Yeah, you really got to do well in the software integration to make that even remotely manageable.
Yeah. And then I have it's called easynotetracking.com, where we plug all of our notes in. That way our buyers know how much they owe. We pull it directly from their bank account. The accountant has access to it, so she knows what she's got to do that year for our taxes. But none of this is like earth shattering. Like, I didn't create it. I just had a series of coaches that have taught me stuff, and then I've made a bunch of trial and error. And it's really about what you like as well. My system
Well,
might not be perfect.
well,
It's
that's the
definitely
point of
not
the Owner Meeting
perfect.
podcast is meet with people who've done interesting things that you want to do. That's how I built my whole career. That's all we ever do. No entrepreneur. Well, okay, fine. Maybe if you're Elon Musk, but for the most part, no entrepreneur is going to come in and reinvent the world wheel. Land is
Yeah.
land. Been around for a while. All the different creative structures have been around forever. There's really nothing new in real estate, at least not often.
No,
And
there's
so,
not.
and there's nothing simpler than it's land. It's there, dirt and trees. You don't have any of the other sticks, bricks, plumbing, electric. You don't have all that to deal with on a land purchase, at least not every time.
Sticks, bricks, plumbing, electric. I like that. Sticks, bricks.
And money, I suppose. Then there's also money. That's about all there is to the game. It's not a very emotional game, real estate. It's pretty simple. When you're finding land, so this is the piece that was overwhelming for, I think, a lot of people. You hop on a land.com site. You're on LandWatch, you're looking at this. How do you identify what a great deal is going to be for land? Because traditionally, multifamily, it's a simple numbers game. What does cash flow look like? Do I have day one cash flow? Is my debt service coverage in the right spot? It's obviously a different game with land. What are you
Yeah.
doing to determine what is an acquisition that you want to make, having done hundreds of these?
Yeah. Good question. So I follow what Warren Buffett does. He's got
Mhm.
some very solid principles that worked for a long, and he's old as heck. So, he's got some, wisdom behind him. But one of his rules is don't lose money.
Yes.
Well, I know a lot of smart people that have lost a lot of money in multifamily, to include myself. And there's people out there way smarter than I am. I don't feel like I'm ever the smartest guy in the room. And
Mhm.
I mean, I can say kudos to me because I surround myself with smart people, or I'm just really dumb, one or the other. But I don't believe I'm really dumb, because I think what we tell our subconscious, what we tell ourselves is very true. Our subconscious will believe it. So I'm starting to believe I'm pretty darn freaking smart, because I hang out with smart people all the time. And maybe I don't hang out with them. I listen to their podcasts like yours, Christian, or I read books that Elon Musk writes or Donald Trump writes, whatever you think about him in politics. I don't care. Not you, anybody listening. But I used to read these books growing up
Mhm.
because I didn't know anything about real estate. I just knew my parents bought their own home, and they spent years trying to pay for it.
Mhm.
But asking what you just asked there, gosh, I think I got a little sidetracked. Can you repeat the question? My apologies.
No, no, that's okay. On traditional, a traditional business, right? So it could be multifamily, office, retail, anything real estate. You typically are going to be looking at your cash flows, your metrics, your
Hmm.
DSCR. What makes a good land transaction? How do you
Yeah. How do we
know
see it?
what you want to buy?
Yeah.
Easier way to ask: what is the buy box for you today after you've done hundreds of transactions?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, how to know if it's a good deal, right? Because that was the biggest thing for me. Like, I used to look at Land Watch, and it was like a guessing game, man. I would see what people were selling it for, what they were asking for it. But there's a difference between what people ask and what they actually get for it. So there was a lot of just uncertainty, and then the whole don't lose money thing. With land, I've only lost money on 2 land deals out of almost 400 now at this point. So I think I've done pretty darn well. But in the beginning, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just buying the stuff for as cheap as possible. I mean, like pennies on the dollar. And thank God I would find someone that just give me a little bit more. And now that whole entire process just changed quite a bit. I look on Redfin, I look on Zillow, and I see where land is selling, where it's in demand. We price it out with our software program. We make offers every day with our software program. And if anybody wants to get access to the software program, it's nothing I created, by the way. Just go to the landsharks, that's plural.com/CRM. They have a free version of it.
Mhm.
And you can start actually making offers to landowners. But that's what I do. I make these offers, and when they come back signed, I have a contract in my inbox that I'm going to make at least $10,000 on. So that's how I know if it's a good deal. I'm looking at the comps. I'm looking at what stuff is actually selling for, not what people are asking. But before
Mhm.
I buy it, I'll do a couple things. I will, reach out to cash buyers, or I will reach out to the realtors in that area selling it and see what the blowout price is for it. And then hopefully I have a buyer lined up ahead of time, and then we'll go ahead and purchase that land, and we'll either sell it on seller financing for a nice down payment, monthly payment, or we'll flip it or wholesale it. So that's how I know I'm getting good deals. Usually with land, I make money immediately. Like that multifamily deal that I
Uh-huh.
lost money on, I could have assigned that contract and made $85,000 back in 2017, or no, it's
Uh-huh.
actually 2018. I wish I would have just taken the money because that was a long, arduous process of renovation. And then it took me so darn long to renovate it. Colorado Springs built all these beautiful apartments with pools and, bars on the rooftop and hot tubs and gardens. And no one wanted my, lipstick pigs that I renovated. So, and then the interest rates went up. So now I'm like $1,600 a month in the negative. You don't want to be in the negative cash flow when you're doing a real estate deal.
No, no. The model that I'd always adopted is buy where it cash flows day one and have
Yes.
long-term fixed rate debt. I don't like doing the big redevelopment projects or the like. I've gone in and I've renovated buildings and done a fantastic job and found that the market doesn't want a fantastic building. They wanted entry level lame housing. And now we have an over improved building and they're really hard to work with. I've never lost money on a
Man.
deal, but my goodness, the less speculation, the better. So when you're doing these transactions, you mentioned you're making money day one. So of course on a wholesale, day one you're going to make money. I assume on your wraps, it's probably pretty similar if you're getting financing on a piece of land and then you're financing it at a higher price. Is that all executed simultaneously at the close? Or are you buying seller financed and then finding a buyer afterwards? What's your
Yeah.
timeline on those? If I'm buying a piece of land, creatively financed or in cash, what is my timeline between close and I now have this note to someone else?
Yeah. 45 days max. If I can't find a buyer in 45 days, we shouldn't buy it.
Mhm,
And I have a couple rules: make money on the close, make money when you close on it,
mhm,
make money consistently throughout it, and make money at the end. And then sometimes it's simple, like we just assign the contract and make a quick cash deal, or we're gonna flip it. So if we're gonna flip it, we want to see, to where it's like, okay, here's what we will list it for today. We will get paid on this thing in 30 days from now, and the profits will be well over, a certain amount. And now I have a threshold depending on how much we spend, we're going to make more profit because the higher the land is, the faster it could fall. So we
mhm,
want to see a bigger, like if I'm going to spend 500K on a piece of land, I want to make every bit of at least 250,000.
mhm.
But if I'm spending 30 grand on a piece of land, I'm fine only making 10 or 12 grand, preferably the
Makes
12 to
sense.
15K side, because land has slowed down a little bit. Right now, 2 years ago, I could sell something in a day. Now it's taking me 30 to 45 days. And that's just fine. That I'm just making sure the spreads are a little bit larger. Where
Mhm,
uncertainty is, I just make sure the profit's bigger. Like Warren Buffett has a 3x rule. If he's going to buy it for $33, he wants to be able to sell it for 90, something dollars type
yeah,
thing. But you talked about that cash flow today, like the mobile home parks. I love mobile home parks because I want the lot rent. I will sell
mhm,
the unit to the tenant for like almost next to nothing, but I want the lot rent. And if it doesn't cash flow today on a fixed 15-year note or less to pay itself off, I mean, I'm not going to buy it. It could have 13 available spaces, and I've got a dealer's license. I get these things real cheap, these mobiles real cheap. But if it
mhm.
doesn't cash flow today, like we're just going to pass on it, because there's too many other deals out there that will.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a simple economic theory, right? It's like, okay, so if you only buy deals that cash flow day one, then you only give yourself raises. And if you have either long-term fixed rate debt, or in your case, you're taking, in some of these deals, you're just taking the cash up front or a contract, it's just profit. Like you
Yeah.
either gave yourself a permanent raise or you got cash in the bank. Really hard to go bankrupt when every deal you do increases your income.
Yeah.
It's
And it was easy for me in
very,
the
very
beginning
hard to
because
lose.
yeah, and it was so easy to set it up like this because I didn't have money. I mean, I
Mhm.
didn't have any cash. It's like I got people all the time like, "Hey, Brandon, I got $25,000. What do I do with it?" Well, put half of it in the bank account, and the other half of it spread it out over several months, making offers, and get a piece of land under contract at 60 cents on the dollar. Now you can turn that 25K into maybe 45K in the next 90 days. That's it. Like, I don't want you locking that money up in a piece of real estate. You can.
Mhm.
Then you become real estate rich, cash poor.
Which is a very common problem for a lot of landlords. That real
Yeah.
estate builds some crazy wealth, but it is not traditionally a heavy cash flow business. And the reason being is because it is more passive than most businesses. You can do jobs where you trade time for money and you build a company that can be more cash flow heavy. Real estate, buy and hold, is a long game. You can build cash flow, but
Yeah.
it's slow. Takes a lot of transactions. You got to buy bigger. It's a slow process to build very significant cash flow. And you end up a lot of people in their first 5 to 10 years end up in that position of they're cash poor, real estate rich, and you
Yep.
hang on long enough, and that eventually does flip, and you can pull liquidity. But it's a slower game. I like the land transactions because you can do a ton of transactions. Like you mentioned, you have high velocity. You're getting paid
Hmm.
at close. You're getting paid within 45 days of close. Doing contracts, so you have note revenue. You have I guess not RV, but mobile home park revenue. You have a lot of different ways to monetize land. How are you
Yeah.
finding your deals primarily for these? If I'm hunting for deals, where are you finding them primarily today?
Yeah, with that software program I gave you, the
Mhm.
landsharks.com/CRM, I
Yeah.
use that to send offer letters. What I'm sending is what's called a land offer letter or an LOL.
Mhm.
So if you, let's just say you own a piece of land in Georgia, it's worth, I don't know, $100,000. I'm going to offer you $69,000 for it, or 61, anywhere from between 61 and 69,000
Mhm.
dollars for that land. You sign it, you send it back. It's a series of offers, basically. And how do I know what to offer? Well, I go in ahead of time and we price it out, we map it out, and we send those offers every single day. It's like people don't always accept it on the first. Sometimes they accept it on the third or the fourth, and most people are not going to accept it. At the end of the day, that's how we're creating money out of thin air. Is we're getting these at discounts. Like
Mhm.
that's I'm not having to renovate it and increase the value. Like, I make money on the buy because we're getting it at a discount. Why would someone sell at a discount? We're just a pawn shop for land. That's it. People sell things all the time to pawn shops at discounts. And, they sell jewelry and Rolexes and guns. And it's like, why do we trade our vehicles in? We know we're losing thousands of dollars to do it, but it's convenient.
Mhm. Well, I like the model for the land game, the way that you're playing it, it's a volume game. You're gonna go and you're gonna be just consistently lots of LOLs. Many won't be accepted. Some will. Once you get one that's accepted, so because you're doing it in mass, I assume there's a limited amount of due diligence that could be done on the front end. Someone now accepts it. What does the DD period look like, and the
Yeah.
process look like for a chunk of land?
Yeah, I actually have a due diligence checklist or a land buying roadmap that I follow. Anybody can get a copy of that if they go to thelandsharks.com/DD, as in due
Oh,
diligence.
perfect. I asked an appropriate question for this one.
Yeah, no,
Link
it's
will
good,
be
man.
below, by the way, in the show notes.
Yeah, it'll ask you for your email and I'll email it to you. Check your spam folder because it seems to go there a lot. But we want to know if it's buildable. Like, will the county allow you to build on it? What's the road access? What's the water look like? What's the, septic or sewer? All these things to see exactly what it looks like. And, I found with land, people are willing to give you longer due diligence periods. While we're in that due diligence period, 15, we call it an inspection period, whether it be 20 days, 15 days, 30 days. I also have on my purchase agreement the rights to market that purchase agreement. And I don't ever blindside a seller with this. I say, hey, I'm not actually going to be building on this land or moving on this land. I do this for a business. When I was in the
Mhm.
military, I used to say, I do this, to pay for diapers and formula. Are you cool with me making a little profit on this? Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to market this thing like crazy. I'm a guerrilla marketer. I put it on Craigslist. I put it on Facebook. I put it on the MLS. I put signs out. I go and literally stand on your land with a bullhorn to
Mhm.
try and sell it. And I've never had a seller say, no, I don't, I think you should make no money. Like when you explain it like that, they're super cool about it and they're like rooting for you. And when they see it on Facebook, they're like, yeah, he kept his promise. They see a sign out there like, oh, yeah, Brent's just doing what he said he's going to do. It's a whole different conversation than what the heck is this? My land's on Facebook.
Yep. Oh, well, it's a great model. So what does transaction volume look like for you in an average year today? Like how often are you buying a piece of land?
Yeah, I'm trying to slow down a little bit actually. I always tell people I want to do one deal a month. It turns into about several deals a month. It seems like. Now
Mhm.
that I'm putting brand new mobile homes on these parcels of land, I'm really only shooting for one a month. It looks like we're going to do about 15 this year in the next 12 months actually, but that's my goal. I primed the pump a long time ago. I always tell people, imagine a red farmhouse pump,
Mhm.
and you just got to go out there and start pumping the thing. And sometimes you got to take a little water and put it in there, but in that mason jar, you only got 32 ounces. 32 ounces. And for anybody watching the video, like
Mhm,
if I pour it all in there and nothing comes out, then I'm going to die of thirst in the next probably 3 days. But if I get that water coming out, I can live for a lifetime.
mhm. Well, that's a really simple, repeatable pace for like, so you're doing a deal a month. That's actually a pretty leisurely pacing. That's not an incredibly hard, strenuous. You hear some people like, so you'll look at like traditional wholesaling businesses where it's full time. Okay, we got an office. We're trying to rip a deal out every, multiple deals a week, these
Yeah.
crazy high volume. You've been able to make fantastic living consistently on a deal a month. If you're
You know
submitting
why?
consistent offers, I mean, that doesn't sound like a overwhelming thing for someone to emulate.
Yeah. And I was that person where I had to rip a deal a week. You know why I had to do that? I had a gun to my head. I had a team. I was
Mhm,
spending $30,000 a month in marketing. I had the office. We had the cleaning crew cleaning the office, the snacks. I had the ego. I had to present the big truck, all these things. I was on TV, on the radio,
mhm.
hosting a real estate meetup. I was like a puppet. And like one day I had this epiphany, like my CFO saw how much money we were making in land and then how much money I was losing on flipping houses. This is like 2022 when the interest rates just went up and I lost a bunch of cash. Then I got a big IRS tax bill. So it was all at once. It's like a perfect storm. And my
Yeah, that's what with the
CFO
market
was
turning. You still get taxed for the good year.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Someone should tell the IRS this. Like, are you kidding me? So I contemplated suicide there for a little bit, for about a couple days. And my CFO was like pointing out, like, he was like, how much time do you spend on the land? I was maybe like, maybe an hour a day, maybe. He's like, what a percentage wise? I was like, 5% of my time. And he's like, how much time do you spend on the houses as percentage? I was like, 95%. And he's like, well, I hate to tell you, you're losing money on the houses, but you're actually making money on your land. Maybe you should swap that. And then he's all like, also, how much cash do you have in it? And I was like, $250,000. He's like, how much cash would you have in the bank if you had private lenders and you treated this like a business rather than real estate?
Mhm.
And I was like, $1 million. And he's like, well, don't you think you should start talking about private lenders? So that day I started building private lenders list and fired everybody, rented out my office. So now the office has been leased out for almost 4 years on a triple net lease.
No,
I make money
fantastic.
now in the office. I'm just like, wow, I had this ego I was trying to present to hang out with my buddies and do what my buddies were doing, and I was stressed out. Now, I mean, I work pretty hard still from 10 to 3 every day, and
Mhm.
I work a lot, but I'm not leaving the house unless I want to. It's all on video. We're way more profitable. I keep more of the money. So I don't know,
Well,
like
that sounds unbelievably better. So, 10 to 3, better than almost anyone. You get to do a job that you love, that you're good at. You've specialized. You don't have the office to maintain. That sounds unbelievably better.
yeah.
Unbelievably better. I see a lot of people who do get caught up in the ego, and they have to have the fancy car, and granted, I love a good truck, drive a
Yeah, yeah.
Tundra, love the Tundra, but you don't need a whole bunch of fancy things, and oftentimes less overhead is better, so that's awesome. So you shrunk your company and increased your profit. That's
Yeah. Yeah,
excellent.
and
That's a
that's the
best
thing.
case scenario.
I still have problems though. We're not perfect. I have an office manager and she probably thinks I'm crazy. But, she kind of keeps me organized and I still have the accountant, the bookkeeper, and a smart CPA. Like just
Mhm.
surround yourself with smart people. You don't have to have a big team. AI is doing a lot of this for us now too. So
Absolutely incredible. How are primary ways that you are using AI in your business right now?
yeah. One thing is like whenever one of my team members asks me a question, it's like, well, did you ask AI? What do you think we should do? It's me asking questions now rather than me being the guy that's like paying these people for them to freaking ask me questions. Like I get really upset when my team members ask me questions. I like, people pay me to ask me questions, right? Like I'm paying you, so I should be asking you the questions. That sounds like an a-hole. I don't actually tell them that, but I'm thinking it. And so I'm just, trying to train them. But I mean, basically, if I can give you anybody any advice is whatever your business you're in, let's just say it's plumbing, you should
Mm.
ask ChatGPT or Grok or whatever you use. If you're not using one, pick one and just say, hey, how do I become an AI first plumbing? How do I become an AI first land company? How do I become an AI first land branding mobile home package company? And it's crazy. Like this thing will start helping you build out things. Now, AI should never be the creator. You're the creator. AI should just help you,
But it will
you
help you
know.
run through it. When we created, I've created a couple of custom AI products for multifamily and for my mentorship group, Multifamily Strategy. When we are building those, like you start it with, hey, I'll use ChatGPT. How would I build a custom GPT that does these things? And it'll walk you through it. It'll literally build itself. It took the
That's
best tool
cool.
I have, it took me about 6 hours just alone in the office talking to the computer, and we end, and it goes, "Oh, sorry, we have 14,000 lines of prompt. We need to condense this to 8 for me to produce this." I was like, "Oh, okay. Can you condense everything we said into 8,000 lines of prompt?" Like, "Yes, done." I was like, "Oh, okay, good. We've completely customized this thing with, like, thousands and thousands and thousands of prompt," and it was a day of it asking me questions and me answering the questions. Hey, have you thought of this?
Yeah.
What should I respond to these scenarios? What are your core beliefs? I was like, it's just an awesome. What tone do you think I should respond in? It will write almost anything from you. The idea starts from you. Like you said, you're the entrepreneur, but using AI to help craft some of the stuff, AI is amazing at building AI tools.
Yeah,
Absolutely
absolutely.
amazing.
Hey, AI, how do I use you more in my land business or my electrical company? And Christian, I wish I would have known you whenever I bought my multifamily because I probably wouldn't have lost money on it. It's like that's one of my biggest mistakes is I got in multifamily and I knew nothing about it. I did
Mhm.
not have a coach. I didn't have a course. It was an arrogant, cocky, egotistical thing for me to do.
A lot of people
And it's
started there.
stupid.
I did my
Stupid.
first few deals without a mentor, and they made money, but it's very much, and I've always been transparent about this. Beautiful market cycle. It was just that tail end before the interest rates started going up. Is that last 2 years before, like when right before and during COVID, where I bought deals and the market just ran up and up and up and up, and so I looked like a hero. The
Yeah.
One of those 2 deals was a duplex. They had permits for all of the work that it took to convert this 1911 house into a duplex. They even had 2 separate meters that the city had approved. Apparently, they never actually got it zoned as a legal duplex. And when the city did an inspection 5 years into me owning this thing, and the prior owners had owned it for 7, they went, "Hey, this lower unit's never been permitted. Your ceiling is 2 inches too low. You need
Ugh.
to raise the second floor of your building, or we're shutting this down." So my duplex became a house. If that happened in the wrong market cycle, I would have just lost the deal. Instead, I lost my cash flow. I sold it for a profit, and that is purely market timing. If that
Yeah.
was the only deal I did and I didn't get my own set of mentors and scaled the business, I could have lost everything on a 2-unit building. What a lame start as an entrepreneur. You time that wrong and you go, I lost it all in a duplex.
Yeah. We get lucky. We get lucky a lot. I'll tell you what,
Yes, we do.
we definitely get lucky a lot. I'm a lucky guy, that's for sure. And that's the kind of luck I have. And I'm gonna keep creating that luck. If the weather's good and we're out in the boat and we're catching fish, I was like, that's just the kind of luck I have. And that's where we should keep focusing on that. I had the same thing. It was a duplex. The dadgum basement was so low, I pretty much had to duck to go in there, but that provided a beautiful 2 bedroom, 1 bath for
Mhm,
many families when I had that building, and I ended up making money on that building too. But thank God the real estate market was going up. We've got these 18-year cycles.
mhm.
Everyone should know about the 18-year cycles, and it's been happened for 300 years now. Where are we at on that? I believe, this is my opinion, we're 2026, we're gonna see a little bit more of a dip. And will it completely crash? I don't know, but
I'm not
know the
seeing anything
cycles.
fundamentally where we're not. I don't see anything where it looks like we're bubbled. So I don't see anything where we're gonna see a crash. We have none of the fundamentals that caused 2008. We'll either dip or be very neutral. We're either gonna go slightly down or slightly up, I think, in 2026. I think it's gonna be a pretty boring year, personally.
Boring is good.
Boring is great. Consistency is fantastic. I want nothing dramatic to happen in real estate. In a perfect market, slow, boring, steady growth for an extended period of time would be the perfect market. You don't want a big boom because it causes a bit more than often. Causes a big crash or a big correction. I want as little drama as humanly possible. And then when you buy, long-term fixed rate, you want to eliminate as many variables as you possibly can. That's the name of the game. Speaking of mentorship, huge point of this channel is connect with owners who've done awesome things. We all learn expensive lessons along the way. Now, in every episode, we always ask the stupid tax, the highest price that you personally paid, learning what you now know today. So someone else cannot make the same mistake. My my largest mistakes have both been seven figures. I've shared many times on here. So I have certainly had decisions that were extremely costly. We recently had Rod Cleef on the podcast, who did a good job of instantly losing 800 homes and $50 million of pain. So we've seen all sorts of stupid tax along your journey. What has been the highest stupid tax for you learning what you now know today?
Man, I don't know. I've got one project. I got about $215,000. I don't know if I'll ever get that money back out of it. I don't know. I mean, then nothing stops me from keeping it and holding on to. I don't know if I've got anything like super interesting as far as stupid taxes. I've made a bunch of different mistakes on deals like that due diligence checklist.
Mm.
The land buying roadmap. Most of those things on that is somehow or another where I made a mistake. I don't know if I lost money on all those things. I know for sure the buildable one. What is it buildable? That one made me lose money. But I don't know if I've got anything crazy to talk about. I already mentioned the 19 unit apartment complex.
Yep.
We'll lose, I'm afraid to say how much. We're not done with it yet. I did buy a piece of land for $1.2 million. I'm still sitting on that one as well. I'll tell you, okay, that was stupid tax.
Okay.
That one, we're still sitting on it, and taxes went up dramatically, like to the tune of $8,000 a year. No, it's 18,000 a year. So I'm sorry, 18,000 a year. So I'm still paying that tax every single year till I, unload that property. What's good about it is it's the last piece of vacant land on a 4-lane highway in Colorado Springs. So someone's eventually
Oh,
going to want it.
that doesn't suck. Springs has done really well. At least it had. I used to help run an office, funny enough, over in Colorado Springs for property management. That would have been 6 years ago now. The company expanded over there, but in the Springs, they've done a great, like, just tremendous job of job growth and population growth over there.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you're holding land on the path of growth there. Any of that infill highway frontage, I'm imagining you're doing quite well positionally on holding that land.
Yeah. Yeah. Your mouth to some buyer's ears.
Yeah, then the question is, how long do you have to hold it? Because
God
sometimes,
willing, we're going to sell it this week, and I'm going to call you and send you a gift card.
oh, that's funny. There's one of my original mentors, Gary Mann. He has most of them, tons of multifamily, hundreds of units. He owns the whole railroad going into town and all the associated land there. Builds a lot of retail. He does a lot of infill. It's a really, really fun investor to watch. But he bought a ton of the land to just a land bank, believing that Moses Lake, Washington would blow up like Tri-Cities did. He grew up in Tri-Cities and they absolutely took off. So he was expecting, hey, he bought these in his 40s. He's in his 70s now. He's in his 40s, like, hey, by the time I'm 50, these are going to be worth unbelievably more. I'll have banked them. He still sold off a lot of those in his 70s. Went, 2 decades slower than he thought it would for the explosive growth. The speculative ideas where you have a long-term hold, sometimes they just don't pan out the way that you think they will. Was that one that you bought creatively financed, cash? How'd you buy that? $1.2 million? That's a big land purchase.
Cash.
Cash. Okay. That's just great. So it's parked there. You're paying taxes on it.
That's true. At the end of the day, I don't have debt on it. I do have a couple partners on it, and they unfortunately used their line of credit, so that kind of sucks.
Well, that's a bummer.
But yeah, I use cash.
How do you handle those conversations? That can be, I've seen it done wrong so many times. Not everything goes to plan. What is your policy for, hey, because it's a weird conversation, right? Hey, we thought this was going to do this. We may not be in a bad position, but you guys have a line of credit and it didn't do what we thought it would. It's a 7-figure transaction. How do you handle that correctly as the deal creator?
Guys, look, whatever you want to do, it's fine with me. If you want to change it, if you want to sell it at a discount, if you want to sell or finance it, if you want to fence it off and we'll let people park RVs and motorhomes and, 18 wheelers on it, I'll make it happen. I'm open to any ideas. I'm just being flexible on what they want to do because I honestly feel like I'm in the best position because I'm the only one. Well, I'm not the only one. I got cash in it. And other guys got lines of credit on it. So yeah,
I had
I don't know if I'm handling it the best, but that's how I'm handling it.
Well, the biggest mistake I've seen people do with that is they'll have a problem and they spend all their time trying to fix it without informing their investors. I've seen people work very, very hard on fixing a problem, but they don't bring it up to the team. And so when they bring it up, now it's, hey, wait, you sat on this for 4 months and you didn't let us be part of the process for solving it. Number one thing you can do in a project doesn't go to plan is just involve everyone, which is exactly what you said to do, right? Oh, we can also flip it, or not, can't also, because you already own it, but we can flip it. We can seller finance it. We can fence it off. We can put all our RVs on it. Many, many ideas. A project that I got stuck on for the longest time. I did this hotel conversion. We bought it at a fantastic price. What we didn't know is that 5 years prior, this used to be like a key place for dealing drugs. And even though we did a beautiful job on the conversion, roof, lighting, paint, interiors, exteriors, kitchenettes, community spaces, filled in the pool, turned it into a community garden. Like, we did a great job on this. Everyone in the city still remembers it as it's the drug dealing building. Could not get over the stigma. We got stuck at 50% occupancy. This is why you only buy deals that cash flow. This is one of 2 times I didn't do that. Now we have a great building with a great basis, and guess what? It loses money. And I bought it on a hard money loan. So while I have a great basis, I'm trying to refinance out of 13.5% debt into 6.5% debt. I can't do it. Have occupied. The solution ended up coming from one of the investors on the team. I let everyone know, hey, I love the project and it went well and under budget. Everything went right, except lease up didn't go as expected. It just didn't. What we ended up doing with it, it used to be known as a drug property and a problem property. We work with the Washington State Departments of Corrections. They put their inmate release program. So when they get released, they have to go stay paid for by the state, anywhere from 6 months to, in some cases, 2 to 3 years. It's almost like a Section 8 voucher. You have a voucher program, they pay you directly. We ended up turning it into, that was the highest and best use for the building. And it got its financing and it got 100% occupied. Wasn't the game plan, but the solution came from letting the investors know and the team know, hey, there's a problem. If we're all part of the solution here, your odds of getting sued or having angry investors goes way down if they're at least part of the problem or have the ability to be part of the solution.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really
communication's
smart.
everything on those. It's been my experience.
Yeah, you got the power of the mastermind too.
Which is even, who suggested it? It was the least experienced investor on the team. The one who came up with the idea was the least qualified to handle the problem.
Those are usually the best ones to solve the problem. They're outside your
fresh set of
industry.
eyes. They have no idea what the usual solutions are. So he came out with the most out of the box. I didn't realize they needed this. They saw a news article that they were going to do a new prison. And they're like, I wonder what the programs are available. They did some research. I would have never thought of that in a million years as a good use for my converted motel. I never would have thought of it.
That's really awesome.
It's fun how these things come together. So there's some links that we have below in the show notes. Land Sharks, you have all your details on it. If someone wants to get connected to you, they have questions following up the podcast, how does someone best get connected with you? They want to reach out.
Yeah, probably the easiest way is go directly to thelandsharks.com and schedule a call.
Love it. That link is below here, Land Sharks. And then social media, where do people find you?
I'm pretty active on Facebook. If you want to watch some videos on what we're up to, go to YouTube. I'm about to hit 10,000 subscribers. I need some help with that. I think I got like 40 more to go.
Oh, there we go. All right. Well, everyone listening to this, you have one mission. You already made it through the entire podcast. Obviously, he's interesting enough to hold your attention here. Try him on his own channel. We need 40 of these bad boys. Let's get it done. Everyone who's listening, subscribe to the channel. And let's go. 10,000 is awesome, dude. That's a great number to hit.
It's been a huge milestone, man. I'm telling you, it's just been consistent posting, and I have friends that they skyrocket, and I'm like, when am I going to take off? I guess I'm talking about land. Not everyone's interested in looking at it. So
there's a market for it though, and people love land, and it's interesting. YouTube's funny. It tends to do nothing until you get a giant skyrocket of one podcast goes off, or you do the one thing that one of my big jump this year. I happened to have Ty Lopez on this podcast, and then right afterwards, he gets indicted for his mega Ponzi scheme. And I'm like, oh, what fortunate timing! Clipping team, let's get let's. And so that was our big boost this year. Was that you happen to
Dang.
catch someone right before they massively break the law. So you never
Ouch.
know. You never know what will happen on YouTube. The algorithm
That's crazy.
will take you off in ways you don't expect. Also, if anyone wants to check out that episode, that is live on the Owner Meeting podcast as well. And it's a weird episode. I'll be honest. He was a really odd guest to have on the pod. So check that out. Filmed from his what was his super house over in Beverly Hills. I'm fairly certain he doesn't still have that. But yeah, we're gonna check out that episode too. It's a weird one. Brett, awesome having you on the pod. Any last thoughts to leave, especially the newer investors, if they haven't invested in land, they haven't checked this out yet? Any parting
Yeah,
thoughts you would leave to someone who's trying to get into the space?
I would say just take action. I love talking to new investors because at one time I was new. At one time I didn't believe that this would work for me. I think that was my biggest hurdle that I had to get over was what makes me so special. But I would hear all these other people on these podcasts just talking all this amazing success, and that's why I love the Wholesaling Inc. podcast. I thank God I'm blessed to be a host every Friday. I have an episode, but that's how I grew was listening to podcasts. And I would hear these regular people just like me that had
Mhm.
jobs, had 3 children, were married, in debt, no time, no money. And we learn. I probably knew more about real estate than most. And if you're listening to this podcast, holy crap, you're probably like at an MBA in this real estate. Now I just recommend take action every single day, do the income producing activities. And that's making offers, making offers, making offers, making offers. Because here's the thing, like it's just like if you're married, you made an offer. You asked her out on a date, or you asked him out on a date. You went out for coffee or lunch, and then it became more maybe movies, and then it became more dates, and eventually it came marriage. Like if you're married, you're a closer. You're an absolute closer. Like you just
Oh,
talk
dude,
someone into
best,
stuff.
best, best clothes I've ever had in my life was my wife. I was
Yeah.
gotta get out there, gotta take action. Get surrounded. Reach out to land sharks. You want to learn more. You guys want to join a community based on multifamily strategy on school. It's completely free. Information will always be free on every platform that I have. So you have anything you want to learn. We have it on YouTube. We got it on the school community. Get connected with thousands of investors there as well. All of the links will be below in the show notes, and we will see you all on the next episode.